Hello, BookTube. You know, one of the things I've mentioned before on this channel many times that I love the Brattle Bookshop here in Boston. They're an old and very, very active used bookstore that is constantly overturning their stock, constantly getting new editions. So it's not like used bookstores that I have been to many times in many cities and towns where the stock really never changes, or if it does and you go there often enough, you can name every book and you can tell when the changes happen, and you're really just there to sort of commune with the books. If you see something that you want, you know it's going to be there next week or next month. You can sort of work your way up to buying it. I've known used bookstores like that, and the Brattle is not one of those places. And that, over the decades that I have been going there, has led me to formulate just a refrain, which is the Brattle will provide. Sooner or later, you see everything there. Sooner or later, you do. And if it's a standard thing, if it's a normal, mainstream published book that had a fairly good print run of any kind and any subject, you're almost certainly going to see it there. Waiting is not irrational at the Brattle. And that was underscored for me all the more firmly today because over the course of the weekend, I discovered, just looking at my own book collection, appalling holes, gaps that I was totally unaware of. And so, I mean, it wasn't urgent. I wasn't going to the Brattle looking for these things. I never go to the Brattle looking for anything because I almost never shop indoors. The Brattle is a normal bookstore indoors. There are things alphabetical order by subject on the 3 stories indoors. But outdoors, in the lot next door, as you will all find out when you come to SteveCon 2018, there are wheeled carts and wall shelves of bargain books, $1, $3, and $5 bargain books. And that stock is always changing. And it's totally random chance what you will find out there. So I don't ever jinx the karma by going to the sale lot with a shopping list in mind. But I nevertheless had a kind of vague shopping list in the back of my mind, not of things I was hoping or expecting to see, but of things I suddenly knew I needed. And I had tremendous luck at the Brattle today with exactly that kind of thing. And I wanted to show you some of the results. The first one is a book we saw on this channel just the other day. And I held it up and I read from it and I praised it. And I just offhandedly, confidently commented on how the copy that I was holding up and reading from, one of you was welcome to take because I, of course, have a copy. And then I went and looked on my shelves and I didn't have a copy. That's this. The Woman at the Washington Zoo by Marjorie Williams. I didn't have a copy. I had a hardcover that was the one I was assuming that I had, and I must have mailed it to somebody, probably one of you. And so now I do. I found a copy at the Brattle. Once I realized that I didn't have it, I was horrified. And so I was very happy to find it at the Brattle. Same thing with this next book. I got a new book about Oscar Wilde, and a couple of people left comments and emailed and texted me asking, well, what other books about Oscar Wilde? Well, you mentioned a definitive Oscar Wilde biography. What is that? Because the book that I got was just about the last years of his life. So, not a definitive soup to nuts biography. And I mentioned that I was automatically going to go and reread the sections about the last years of his life from the definitive biography that I had on him. And a lot of you asked what that is, and it's by Richard Ellman. It's from 30 years ago. And true to form, when I was done with that video, I got up, walked over to the biography bookshelf, looked for the Ellman biography, and it wasn't there. And as luck would have it, I found a copy at the Brattle. So now all I have to do is find, a couple of you asked for copies of the Ellman Wilde biography. Now all I have to do is find copies for the rest of you. And even there, the Brattle will provide. I see this all the time at the Brattle. This is a perfect condition hardcover, so I grabbed it right away because, good Lord, that's a huge gap. And also, the other day, twice in recent videos on this channel, I have mentioned my love of James Goldman's play and movie, The Lion in Winter, which is about Henry II, the founder of the Plantagenet line, and Eleanor of Aquitaine, his famous queen, and their sons, 2 of whom became kings, 3 of whom became kings. And after those mentions, I sort of had Henry on the brain, and I thought, I might like to read about his wars again. And of course, the book to read on that is the definitive Henry biography, which is by a professor named Warren from 50 years ago. It's never been exceeded. It's never even been rivaled. And again, spurred by those mentions on this channel, I went to the biography shelf to pull down my copy of Warren's biography of Henry II and read about his military adventures, and the book wasn't there. No copy was there. I must have had a copy, and I must have sent the hardcover to somebody. And so I was very happy to find it at the Brattle. A nice hardcover, not only that, but a UK hardcover. So thicker paper, and all that stuff, so that the book is actually much bigger. It sits much more satisfyingly in the hand. So now, I saw that gap on the shelf, and I thought, oh my God, I got to get the next copy I find at the Brattle. And it turns out the next trip to the Brattle provided a copy, and it's a nicer copy than the one that I was missing. So that was very nice. And then there are also second chances at the Brattle that don't have anything to do with the videos that I've made with the rest of you. One of the ways that the Brattle takes care of second chances has to do with the mail hauls that you see me get here on this channel. I have been getting books in the mail, 10 a day, for 10 years. And, as I've mentioned many times, the only way that works is to keep them going out almost as fast as they're coming in, or faster. That's the only way that it works. Otherwise, it would be a Collier Brothers scenario here. I would just have 10-foot high stacks of books everywhere. I don't want that. So what I have done over the years is I get a book, I read it. Many cases I review it. I like to keep the review percentage way up there to justify how many things I'm getting. And then usually I get rid of it. Usually I either donate it or I sell it to the Brattle. Once I'm done my duty by it, I figure it's mine, so I can do what I want with it. And usually that's what I do. And as you've seen on this channel, that occasionally causes me to regret that decision. Occasionally I will do a grand sweep of stuff and just sweep it away. I will just say, all right, you, and you. I've read you. There's no chance I'm going to want to reread you. So I'm saying goodbye to you. And there have been many occasions in the last 10 years where one or two of those books have stuck with me, and I have wished I didn't get rid of it. And the Brattle helps wonderfully with that, because the Brattle isn't just old books. All sorts of recent books show up there too. And one of them is a perfect example of that. This is The Rebellion of Ronald Reagan by James Mann, who's the author of an absolutely indispensable nonfiction work on contemporary American politics called The Rise of the Vulcans. And this is his book about, I don't know why he used the very ugliest painting that was ever done of Ronald Reagan for the cover. But again, I am not consulted on book covers. But it's a book in which he sort of digs back into the Reagan administration to see just how much forethought, planning, and also initiative on the part of Ronald Reagan himself, rather than all of the State Department spooks that he was surrounded with, led to his rhetoric and his policy towards the Soviet Union at the end of the Soviet Union's life. And I read it. I think that I reviewed it. I'll look around, and if I did, I'll leave a link to the review. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. As you probably got the impression on this channel, I'm kind of an aficionado of studies of Ronald Reagan, of the Reagan era, and also the Reagan term in office. And yet, despite the fact that I liked it, I got rid of it and found it again today at the Brattle, and a hardcover that very well could be the one that I got rid of. So I was very happy about that. This is the kind of second chance that I really like. This is a book that I got. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago that it came out, and I know that I liked it. I know that I want to reread it. I know that I will consult it the next time a major Reagan book comes out. So I've missed it. Is, I guess, the point I'm trying to make is that when other Reagan books have come out, I've missed having this. So I'm glad that I found it. I won't be getting rid of it again. And then the last book that I want to show you today is another kind of second chance, a much longer game second chance, a book that not that I got because of Open Letters Monthly, not that I got for a review, but that I read a long time ago for personal reasons. And don't have a copy of, and you find those things at the Brattle too, and that's this Life Drawings by Michael Crumley. This is it's a novel about a boy from small town Iowa who decides to leave his tiny town and his beautiful golden world and find a larger world of gay identity. It's a passionately felt and also extremely sensual gay novel. One of the only gay novels from, I think this came out in the mid '80s. One of the only ones from that time where the sensuality of the lifestyle that the main character wants to embrace is treated as intelligently and with as great a nuance as the personal freedoms, as the identity questions. It's not shunted off to the side or made, secondary to personal things. It's a vital part of the book, and the book is extremely autobiographical. In fact, it's entirely autobiographical almost, and it's beautifully done. And I had a copy a long time ago, and I got rid of it, and it's bittersweet and wonderful to find a copy at the Brattle. The author died of AIDS, and we don't have the toweringly great books that he would have written had he gone on, had he pursued his career. He did a lot, he wrote a lot, and this is the best of them. So it was wonderful to find it at the Brattle, and that's a kind of long game second chance that you will often see there too. so you're going to learn all of these things when you all come to visit me and go to the Brattle with me. Who knows what treasures you will find that I overlooked. But that is the second chance Brattle book haul that I wanted to share with you. This is Life Drawing, which if you find anything by this author at your own used bookstore, and it's of interest to you, you should grab it. You won't be disappointed. And I think extremely unlikely that anything by him will ever come back into print. And then The Rebellion of Ronald Reagan. So I couldn't resist. I'm so glad to find it a modern book, something that I requested from the publisher, same as you see me do all the time on this channel, got in galley form and then in finished form, read, annotated, I may have reviewed it, and then got rid of. I'm so glad to find it and get it back again. And then W.L. Warren's biography of Henry II, which, for reasons surpassing understanding, I didn't have. So here I'm quoting the line in Winter, Left, Right, and Center, without the book on Henry II. And then Richard Ellman's biography of Oscar Wilde, which again, I talk about, and you ask me what the definitive book is, I'm immediately going to say it. And I get a splinter book about Wilde or a new annotated, edition of some novel or play or poem of his, I'm immediately going to want to go back to this book, and I didn't have it. So now I do. And last, The Woman at the Washington Zoo. An egregious omission on my part that I just assumed all along that I had, and I didn't. So now I do. so there you go. That's a sort of a second chance book haul that I wanted to share with you, and I'll wrap it up for now. But I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.